Hey, welcome to CryptoCoach365 day 86. Michael Tozoni here, and happy Sunday. It's a really wonderful day out there. So, not much to do on Sunday again, unfortunately. As I mentioned, businesses are closed, so my massive to-do list has to be put off until Monday. But a couple of things to catch up here and there. I finally managed to get some of the one of the more complex portions of my plane thing going. It's a software-based circuit protection system, which was pretty neat. Basically, instead of having a console full of, there would be tiny little circles about that big, and there'd be about 24 of them or so, where little buttons I have to press if a circuit breaker pops, or I have to go through them and check them out every time before you do a landing, because when you land, one of the pre-landing checklists is check that your gas is going on full, check that your lights are all set correctly, and check that all your circuit breakers are in, which you basically kind of rub your fingers over them. In this thing, it's created by Vertical Power. It's all software based. It connects to my main display using a serial like data connection port. And I don't have to check anything, because if any circuit breaker pops, it'll just pop up as a warning saying that this specific thing popped, and then I can just bring up the entire circuit panel display on my screen and press whichever one is actually lit up as not working. And I can even turn specific aircraft avionics or components on and off directly from the screen too. So a lot safer, unfortunately more expensive, but a lot safer. Gives me a warning about it anytime it happens, so I don't have to kind of keep rubbing my hands over it, making sure everything's still in place. And a lot faster and more reliable too. So as I said, not much else to do business-wise, because everything's closed. Real estate, we are moving forward with another new property that's that one I might actually put up as an offer on to others to invest in eventually. Probably sooner than later. I'm going to be able to rent this property out, and I believe I should be able to get a fairly substantial return on the rents for it too. So if somebody's interested, I may be able to share a portion of it. Secured by a lien on the property, of course. So if anything happens to the rent not coming in, or your portion of the payments not coming in, you would still have the house as a collateral. But besides that, with crypto, Bitcoin, we noticed it dipped a little bit below 7,000 again. I don't know why it's, as I mentioned, it's really hard to tell why Bitcoin goes up and down. People buy, people sell. Sometimes it's just a trend that is initiated by a large sale that a lot of bots end up following too. In this case, it might be something similar, where it's just the ETFs were denied or postponed, and just a general feeling of the entire market has been kind of down, so it may have dragged it down bit by bit by bit. But it seems to have bumped up back to above 7,000, so it's maintaining that at least. With regards to crypto, though, one of the topics I wanted to talk about was cryptocurrencies. They do allow you financial privacy, in that everybody has a Bitcoin address, which is kind of like an account where your money is stored. But those accounts are not actually linked to any identities. And when I talked about HD wallets, to protect your privacy, right now you actually end up with most wallets, you create a new account every time you send a transaction. So money comes in, like you have money and you need to send it to somebody else. So what you do is you spend all of your money out of your account. A portion of that goes to somebody else's account, and the remainder of that money goes to a completely new account that you generate every time. Excuse me. So that way you can keep your financial privacy, keep your finances private. But because the entire ledger listing of all the accounts and balances is public, there is actually an option that you can use a single address for all of your transactions and be completely financially transparent if you want to be. And this is another feature that is not really available in the current financial system, because You could publish your account number publicly, but that creates a lot of risk because people, if people know your routing and checking account number, they can actually withdraw money on their if they just get a little bit of extra information. Whereas if they know your Bitcoin address, they can't really do anything other than send money to it. And the other thing is, even if you publish your routing and checking account number, your bank information, there's little chance that you will actually, somebody else will actually be able to get in there and see all your transactions. That's not the case with Bitcoin, though. If you know your a specific Bitcoin address, you can follow all the money coming in and out of it anytime you want to, and anybody else can. And the biggest thing is that even if you manage to get a bank to agree to give you access to all the transactions, there's no way to prove that the bank is not actually lying about some transactions or omitting some others. With the Bitcoin ledger, the blockchain, as soon as you publish a Bitcoin address, everybody can 100% guarantee, verify, see that they can see all transactions coming in and out. Basically no financial privacy whatsoever, and everybody can see all the money coming and going. Now you might be asking, why would you want to do something like that? Well, a long time ago I ran a charity called Bitcoin 100, and we actually used that to our advantage in that we used one single address to do all of our financial stuff. So any kind of donations we received went to that address. Any kind of money that was spent on moving that money to donating it to others, or any kind of costs associated with the charity, was spent from that address. And in that way, everybody could see all the money that was donated to the charity. Everybody can always verify how much money the charity actually has. And any expenses had to be specifically labeled with a description saying where this money was going. So any time that, let's say, we donated to, there's a sex worker rescue charity in Southeast Asia that we sent to. They needed money to kind of build up a new house for more transition, abused women. So we donated quite a bit of money to them, and whenever one actually made that transfer, somebody in the company had to make the transfer and write note publicly on blockchain.info showing that this money of that amount was sent to this specific charity. And then anybody else could actually call up the charity and say, hey, did you actually receive this money? And they would say, yes, we did. And this way you can verify that this money was actually spent and sent and spent on where it's supposed to go, instead of one of us just taking that money by ourselves. So this actually creates two benefits. One is that we don't actually have to prove anything to anybody, almost, I guess, but we don't have to prove how much money we have. We don't have to kind of prove where the money is going. We don't have to show how much money we actually have. So the entire administrative portion of that is automatically taken care of. Anybody can log on to check the blockchain through like blockchain.info or Block Explorer, and they'll be able to see how much money is there, how much money was received each month, how much money was spent each month, where the money went, all that kind of stuff. And they can do that themselves without needing to trust us. The other really big benefit was that because everything is completely public, there was very, very little risk of any kind of improprieties, or however you say that, any bad things being done with the money, like money being used in a way it's not supposed to. Because when the money is entirely publicly traced and tracked, everybody sees money coming in and money coming and going. Any kind of expenditures that would have been on any of the employees personally would have been flagged and tracked and seen by everybody right away. So it's not like you can, like a lot of charities, they raise a lot of money, they spend it on charity, I guess, operating or whatever the heck. And then later on you find out that apparently of all the money raised, only 10% was actually spent on charitable stuff, and the rest of it went on administrative costs and salaries and other kind of crap. So for us, you didn't need to wait until some report or an audit came back from the charity. You can actually look and see that this money was being spent exactly where it needs to go. And because this could be done by anybody at any time, it really prevented anybody from spending that money how it never should have. And in effect, we ended up in that specific charity, all the money that came in ended up being spent on charity stuff. Actually, I think maybe like a couple of $100 was spent on operating or management, and that's out of close to $200,000. So it was almost nothing. So it really kept us, kept everybody honest in the whole company. So anyway, actually, with regards to the bank thing that I'm building up, one of the ideas I've been throwing around, and it's mainly inspired by that charity too, is setting up the bank in a way where a lot of the operating costs for the bank can be kept public as well. There's already something in, Bitcoin called, let me think, proof of reserves, I believe. Effectively, for example, an exchange that has a lot of accounts held by a lot of people can create a cryptographic proof of reserves where they publish a way for everybody to get a specific cryptographic signature that is associated with their account. So they publish the total amount of money that they have, and then from that you can use your the signature to verify that your specific account balance is part of that total amount. So you can verify that you actually have the money in that account that they claim is yours, without actually knowing how much everybody else has or what other people's accounts are. So with my bank, I'm actually wondering if it's possible to do something similar where people can verify their balances on the cryptocurrency side, verify their balances somehow, probably was an audit unfortunately, on the fiat side, and set it up so that operating costs and just bank expenses and just bank funds in general may be public. In part because if everything is public, it's a lot harder to accuse us of doing something wrong with our money. But anyway, that's it for today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.